The moccasin of June was heard on the floor above her when only a single bar was turned. The second was released as her form reached halfway down the lower ladder. "What you do?" exclaimed June angrily. "Run away? Mad! Leave blockhouse. Blockhouse good." The hands of both were on the last bar, and it would have been cleared from the fastenings but for a vigorous shove from without, which jammed the wood. A short struggle ensued, though both were disinclined to violence. June would probably have prevailed, had not another and a more vigorous push from without forced the bar past the trifling impediment that held it, when the door opened. The form of a man was seen to enter, and both the females rushed up the ladder, as if equally afraid of the consequences. The stranger secured the door, and, first examining the lower room with great care, he cautiously ascended the ladder. June, as soon as it became dark, had closed the loops of the principal floor and lighted a candle. By means of this dim taper, then, the two females stood in expectation, waiting to ascertain the person of their visitor, whose wary ascent of the ladder was distinctly audible, though sufficiently deliberate. It would not be easy to say which was the more astonished on finding, when the stranger had got through the trap, that Pathfinder stood before them. "God be praised!" Mabel exclaimed, for the idea that the blockhouse would be impregnable with such a garrison at once crossed her mind. "Oh, Pathfinder! What has become of my father?" "The Sergeant is safe as yet, and victorious, though it is not in the gift of man to say what will be the end of it. Is not that the wife of Arrowhead skulking in the corner there?" "Speak not of her reproachfully, Pathfinder. I owe her my life, my present security. Tell me what has happened to my father's party, why you are here, and I will relate all the horrible events that have passed upon this island." "Few words will do the last, Mabel, for one used to Indian devilries needs but little explanations on such a subject. Everything turned out as we had hoped with the expedition, for the Sarpent was on the lookout, and he met us with all the information heart could desire. We ambushed 3 boats, drove the Frenchers out of them, got possession and sunk them, according to orders, in the deepest part of the channel, and the savages of Upper Canada will fare badly for Indian goods this winter. Both powder and ball, too, will be scarcer among them than keen hunters and active warriors may relish. We did not lose a man or even have a skin barked, nor do I think the enemy suffered to speak of. In short, Mabel, it has been just such an expedition as Lundy likes, much harm to the foe, and little harm to ourselves." "Ah, Pathfinder, I fear, when Major Duncan comes to hear the whole of the sad tale, he will find reason to regret he ever undertook the affair." "I know what you mean, but by telling my story straight you will understand it better. As soon as the Sergeant found himself successful, he sent me and the Sarpent off in canoes to tell you how matters had turned out, and he is following with the 2 boats, which, being so much heavier, cannot arrive before morning. I parted from Chingachgook this forenoon, it being agreed that he should come up one set of channels, and I another, to see that the path was clear. I've not seen the chief since." Mabel now explained the manner in which she had discovered the Mohican, and her expectation that he would yet come to the blockhouse. "Not he, not he. A regular scout will never get behind walls or logs so long as he can keep the open air and find useful employment. I should not have come myself, Mabel, but I promised the Sergeant to comfort you and to look after your safety. Ah's me! I reconnoitred the island with a heavy heart this forenoon, and there was a bitter hour when I fancied you might be among the slain." "By what lucky accident were you prevented from paddling up boldly to the island and from falling into the hands of the enemy?" "By such an accident, Mabel, as Providence employs to tell the hound where to find the deer, and the deer how to throw off the hound. No, these artifices and devilries with dead bodies may deceive the soldiers of the 55th and the king's officers, but they are all lost upon men who have passed their days in the forest. I came down the channel in face of the pretended fishermen, and though the riptyles have set up the poor wretch with art, it was not ingenious enough to take in a practice eye. The rod was held too high, for the 55th have learned to fish at Oswego, if they never knew how before, and then the man was too quiet for one who got neither prey nor bite. But we never come in upon a post blindly, and I have lain outside a garrison a whole night because they had changed their sentries and their mode of standing guard. Neither the Sarpent nor myself would be likely to be taken in by these clumsy contrivances, which were most probably intended for the Scotch, who are cunning enough in some particulars, though anything but witches when Indian circumventions are in the wind.
Do you think my father and his men may yet be deceived? Said Mabel quickly.
Not if I can prevent it, Mabel. You say the Sarpent is on the lookout too, so there is a double chance of our succeeding in letting him know his danger, though it is by no means sartain by which channel the party may come.
Pathfinder,
said our heroine solemnly, for the frightful scene she had witnessed had clothed death with unusual horrors.
Pathfinder, you have professed love for me, a wish to make me your wife?
I did venture to speak on that subject, Mabel, and the Sergeant has even lately said that you are kindly disposed, but I am not a man to persecute the thing I love.
Hear me, Pathfinder. I respect you, honor you, revere you. Save my father from this dreadful death, and I can worship you. Here is my hand, as a solemn pledge for my faith when you come to claim it.
Bless you, Mabel. This is more than I desarve, more, I fear, than I shall know how to profit by, as I ought. It was not wanting, however, to make me sarve the Sergeant. We are old comrades, and owe each other a life, though I fear me, Mabel, being a father's comrade is not always the best recommendation with a daughter.
You want no other recommendation than your own acts, your courage, your fidelity. All that you do and say, Pathfinder, my reason approves, and the heart will, nay, it shall follow.
This is a happiness I little expected this night, but we are in God's hands, and he will protect us in his own way. These are sweet words, Mabel, but they were not wanting to make me do all that man can do in the present circumstances. They will not lessen my endeavors, neither.
Now we understand each other, Pathfinder, Mabel added hoarsely. Let us not lose one of the precious moments, which may be of incalculable value. Can we not get into your canoe and go and meet my father?
That is not the course I advise. I don't know by which channel the Sergeant will come, and there are 20. Rely on it, the Sarpent will be winding his way through them all. No, my advice is to remain here. The logs of this blockhouse are still green, and it will not be easy to set them on fire, and I can make good the place, baiting a burning, ag'in a tribe. The Iroquois nation cannot dislodge me from this fortress, so long as we can keep the flames off it. The Sergeant is now camped on some island, and will not come in until morning. If we hold the block, we can give him timely warning, by firing rifles, for instance, and should he determine to attack the savages, as a man of his temper will be very likely to do, the possession of this building will be of great account in the affair. No, my judgment says remain, if the object be to sarve the Sergeant, though escape for our 2 selves will be no very difficult matter.
Stay, murmured Mabel. Stay, for God's sake, Pathfinder. Anything, everything, to save my father.
Yes, that is nature. I am glad to hear you say this, Mabel, for I own a wish to see the Sergeant fairly supported. As the matter now stands, he has gained himself credit, and could he once drive off these miscreants, and make an honorable retreat, laying the huts in block and ashes, no doubt Lundy will remember it and sarve him accordingly. Yes, Mabel, we must not only save the Sergeant's life, but we must save his reputation.
No blame can rest on my father on account of the surprise of this island.
There's no telling. Military glory is a most unsartain thing. I've seen the Delawares routed, when they desarved more credit than at other times when they've carried the day. A man is wronged